Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at many of these top 10 Bitcoin mining stocks and going over their charts, starting off with fear and greed because these are stocks we are talking about. On CNN, we are down into extreme fear because why wouldn't we be? And with crypto, we are very deep in extreme fear. So, as deep as we've seen it in quite some time, and we've been talking about this ever since this peak in last November, that crypto greed to fear has just been in this downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. It is really bottomed out right now. So, we are seeing more fear than we have in this entire last year. And we have not seen crypto fear and greed this low since June of 22. And what happened after June of 22? Well, the bottom for Bitcoin was put in around that time in November. So last time in June of 22, we can go over to the Bitcoin chart and take a look at that. And you can see the reason there was so much fear is because there's just this massive sell off in Bitcoin. So we are at some pretty unique levels right now, in my opinion. Great times to be looking for opportunities in the market. And we'll be taking a look at the miner charts and see how they are holding up. Of course, seasonality wise, historically speaking, February tends to be a decent month. Not anymore, but as far as 2025 is concerned. But you will notice that as far as April, this is the second best month overall. So maybe the negativity in February and March will then turn around into April. And I'll also remind you, I've been talking about this in the stock videos, is that this is pretty common that we see sideways downward action for about 100 or so days after the inaugurations for new presidents ever since 1932. This is for the S&P 500, but this is something to keep in mind. As far as the overall altcoin season index, you can see we're still maintaining these higher highs and higher lows. And I still maintain that these miners, the altcoins we talk about, that the miners are like altcoins, and that overall in this cycle, this is just another one of those pullbacks that we are still in an uptrend. And so when we get these pullbacks, right now, these are the opportunities to look for. And I am showing you something that I'm looking for on the charts before Bitcoin resumes its bullish momentum. And you can see on the rainbow chart, I do videos on macro crypto indicators and charts every week, usually on Monday. So subscribe if you want to hear more about that. You can see in the rainbow chart back down into this green zone, which has a bottoming area of about 70K, an area to keep an eye on. So again, we'll go into the miners today. We'll talk about Mara, Riot. We'll revisit Cores. Haven't taken a look at that one in a hot minute. We'll go to CleanSpark, Bitdeer, Iron, Cypher, and Wolf. And I think we will leave it there. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. And yes, it's been having this big sell-off, but you will see that Bitcoin, it is hanging at the 20-week moving average. The wick is underneath it, but the candle body is still being supported by the 20-week moving average. If that were to break, then the next area to look for would be the 50. The 50 is at around that mid 70K area. So again, an area to watch for, and you can even see some horizontal price action in the lower 70K range as you see the price on the right. So remember what the rainbow chart showed, if it did get down into more of that green zone that we talked about, that would be an area to look for, the mid 70Ks at worst. But we haven't broken enough resistance yet. Also on the daily, we are seeing Bitcoin so far holding on the candle body on the 200-day. It is getting underneath it. So if the 200-day does start to be lost, I hate to say it then, but you want to keep an eye on the 50-week yet. There's a lot of people that believe or that say that when the price action is staying above the 50-week, that overall you are still bullish. And so last August, when Bitcoin got down to the 50-week, that was the low. That was the time to get in. So whether it hangs around here or not, or goes lower, that is what I would be watching for. One of the indicators I think all of us need to have and keep track of is this MACD, the moving average convergence divergence. Right now, it is red on the weekly, but when this turns around, that's what you want to watch for, because you will see right here when the MACD on the weekly flipped positive, that's when Bitcoin had that big move into November, October to November. The time before when it flipped positive, Bitcoin with this massive move as well. And the time before that, when it flipped positive, there was a minor one there. Don't really count that one, but was right here when we were seeing more bullish divergence at this time. Price did go lower, but that was getting ready to make a larger move up. So this was at the very start of the bull run. So with all this being said, we have the very start of the bull run. We have this massive move, the last massive move that we had, all the way from the mid 50Ks to 109K. The next time this flips positive, I don't know if it's going to be another few weeks, a month, 2 months, but make sure you're keeping track of the MACD. All right, let's get into the miners. And first, we'll talk about Marathon Digital Holdings. We'll take a look at the weekly, the monthly. In Mara, sadly, it has lost its 0.5. You do see that it was trying to get some support from horizontal price action, but the wick is coming down closer to the 382, and really just taking a look sideways at this dashed line. To be honest, I'd be expecting this 382 to be hit at around $11. So once Mara lost this 0.5, you can see it's trying to hold on to it, as well as the 200-week moving average. It's just gone down there. So I wonder if we have any monthly moving averages. So technically speaking, Mara is still holding on to its 50-month moving average. But as we take a look at this overall, I don't know if you guys can quite see it. So we do see that this trend line has been broken as far as this giant wedge. But I'm also seeing somewhat of a channel here. So let's go to our parallel channel guy right here. We will line up those highs and do those lows match up pretty well, actually. So we will match that. I didn't quite get the high on the left perfectly, but the lows are matching up. So I was wondering why Mara was hanging out in the middle here and expecting this 3-2, and that may still happen. But right now, there's no denying that this area around the lower part of this wedge, right here at around $12, that would be a reason to look at picking up some Mara right there if you like this channel it's in. As far as the MACD and the stochastic RSI, we'll see the MACD right now is negative. So once it starts flipping positive, like it did back here, big move there. When it flipped positive back here, and you'll see this. It doesn't always time the bottom, but it doesn't need to. Big move there as well. The stochastic RSI, I was hoping it would flip positive, but I'm sure it's just continuing to go negative, and there you go. So last couple times, there's a couple little teases. So maybe here, if it does start to flip positive, I would be looking at getting some discounts at the lower end of this channel. So a couple buy areas. This is discount territory right now for the number one mining stock. So if you want it right here or lower, these are two discounted areas to buy. Nothing that you can't deny with Mara right there. So next, let's take a look at Riot, the number 2 Bitcoin miner. And we'll see that Riot overall, man, it lost that 382. So this one, just like Mara, has been in a descending channel. And so right now, where we see Riot, by the way, there's the stochastic down there, wanting the flip positive, it is very oversold. But as we take a look at the horizontal price action, you can see that it just recently got under these guys right here. But it is lining up with the most recent wick down at this area. So maybe an area for sort of a double bottom, if you will. But you want to see that hold. If that wick does not hold, the next areas to look for, and matching up with this wick right here, would be at around 775, and below that, of course, $7 near the lower end of the channel. So do watch out for those prices for Riot. If you like Riot, I don't mind picking up some if you get confirmation soon. But I'd wait for confirmation. Otherwise, you could just be catching a falling knife. So again, we have the MACD, we have the stochastic. You can even take a look at these buy-sell signals on this indicator, and that's why I use Heikin-Ashi signals as well. That's when I'm buying with confirmation, but when I'm buying on fibs and moving averages, I show you how I draw fibs, and this is the moving average indicator I use right there. All right, let's go over to Core Scientific, CORZ. We will be taking a look at IRIN today for people like that. So Core Scientific, also very oversold. So guys, here's a couple reasons I'd say to be bullish or even greedy, if you will. Cores, the wick came down to that 382. The candle body still above this 50-week moving average. And yes, it lost the 236, but in this area, we have not seen cores have this much of a discount since last August as far as the moving averages and fibs are concerned. So did get underneath the dailies, and you can see once it lost the daily, boom, went right down to 382, but it is holding on to it. And as far as this fib that I drew, let me zoom out to the weekly again. You can see I drew it from low to high. So sometimes I do high to low. This one, because it's a newer mining stock, that's why I went low to high. So right there, very similar story with the last two. We have the stochastic oversold, waiting to flip positive, and we're in decent discount territory. So we're just waiting on confirmation, but I like a lot of these discounts I'm seeing right now. And so as part of my budget, I do not mind picking up some of these deals on these miners. All right, let's next take a look at CleanSpark. You know, a lot of people are very hyped about CleanSpark. Some people believe it'll be the eventual #1 mining stock. We'll see. So this is concerning that the stochastic is continuing to go downwards, which tells me I'd be worried about it losing this 0.5 fib and getting down lower, maybe around the 660 area. You can see this ascending trend line of higher lows was also broken. But if we take out these trend lines, here's another one where it looks like maybe there's somewhat of a channel forming. I like to draw channels anytime I see them. And so I think it does seem like those bottoms match up more. You can take a look right. We'll go from this one. I tried to go here just because there is a little bit more that lines up either way. But you see that channel coming, that the price is coming down to that channel. I do think, to me, it just doesn't line up enough. So I would be taking a look at right there. So we might see CleanSpark get somewhere around the area of the middle of the $6 range if that 0.5 gets lost. I know we have this wick above here, but there's just way more candle wicks that hit this area. So yeah, that would be my target area for CleanSpark. And just with the way the other miners are looking, ones with a larger market cap, that's why, you know, just with the stochastic not even being as oversold, I would be watching for that price. So something to keep an eye on for CleanSpark. All right, we'll skip this guy. We'll go to BitDeer. Supposedly it's moved up 10% today, so we'll see about that. And as far as BitDeer on the weekly, you don't really see that 10% move. The stochastic still has to flip positive, but right now the candle body's staying above the 100-week moving average, and then we have the 786 fib. When we take our fibs off log, it did get into the 1618 up here. We've looked at that before, but our fibs on log scale now. So that is a price to watch for. As far as the 200-day, yeah, it's lost the 200-day. But so far, the 786 is holding up. It's still looking pretty weak in my opinion. And with the way the stochastic looks like it could still go down a bit, I would not be surprised to see the candle body get more onto the 786 and possibly even lower. You'll see this, the 618 line has come up a lot. And we do have these higher lows right here. If we draw a trend line from the absolute low, I'm curious where this lines up. If we draw from those lows, if we get anywhere down here and you really like BitDeer, that's where I'd be possibly taking a look at some deeper discounts. All right, Next, let's go to Iris Energy. Because Iron was one of those miners that was maintaining its trend line for a while. And you'll see right there, it did break underneath it. So you see the stochastic, it flipped positive, it just got into the shaded area, and then it came back down. So it did lose that trend line of those higher lows. And so right here, you can see it is in somewhat of a descending channel just recently. And so we'll correct that part on the left in just a little bit. And so if you really like iron, and I know there's some viewers out there that do, you guys let me know about it, that we have the 100-week moving average, the lower end of the channel, even the 618. If you're within this range of where we are right now, really, $8.50 down to $7.90, I think that's a decent range to be taking a look at some discount opportunity. And the stochastic is even trying to flip positive. It may do one of these right here, just dip down again and stay in this area. But in my opinion, I like this area for some possible discounts for iron. I really do. Especially with the stochastic. This one just looks, at least on the stochastic, like it wants to maintain its strength. And let's just do a couple more. We'll do Cypher and Wolf. We'll close out with those. As far as Cypher, let's see what's going on. So here's one, the stochastic flip positive, and starting to come back underneath the blue, underneath the orange. And guys, I think this also just goes to show no indicator is absolutely perfect. Sometimes we get the positive signals we want, but we do want to marry those indicators across the board. So not just the stochastic, but the stochastic with the MACD. Man, that was looking pretty positive. Even the MACD got tricked out a little bit. It looked like it wanted to come up and then boom, came back down again. So you do want to see both those go hand in hand a bit. But I do like my stochastic. So yeah, looks like it's going to come back down here a little bit. And as far as this channel, it may come down to the lower end of the channel again. We see all these weekly moving averages right here, and it wicking down under the, this is the golden pocket area, the 618 to the 65. So it got in there, a lot of buyers off that area, and even with all this big sell pressure, that golden pocket got bought up again. If we go over to the daily, we can see that a little better, that it's hanging out in that golden pocket. So Cypher here, the daily stochastic RSI, looks like it still may have a ways to go down. I'd be taking a look at that $3.75 area, and this channel goes as low as 350. So anywhere in here, if you really like Cypher, I mean, I would not blame you for buying it. You can see it respected that area of the channel, this golden pocket area. I think, yes, you never know if anything's going to go lower or not, but I like Cypher. I would not mind picking some up in this area. And then we will finish with Wolf. And as far as TerraWolf, so same old story again, losing the moving averages, losing the fib, is coming down to this 382 fib. As far as the weekly, there is a little bit of a channel there. I don't know if you guys saw it. When you do this, a lot of times you will start to see these things without even drawing it, or before you even draw it. But even, yeah, in the weekly, not looking so great there. So when we look horizontally, there's some price action in the past. I think looking at it on the daily is better. We'll just take one last look. Stochastic RSI, very oversold, kind of like some of the earlier miners. Looks like it wants to flip positive, but we'll see. But going over to the daily, as far as the daily is concerned, just taking a look horizontally all the way to the left. I would not be surprised to see it come down a little bit more to the 330s area. But, I mean, as we've been talking about channels a lot today, I mean, this is another one where it looks like a channel to me. Don't worry, we'll fix it. I know I didn't start that one out perfectly. We will fix it. Let's line this sucker up and get it as good as we can. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty steep channel. I mean, with as steep as it's looking, yes, it's hitting the lower end of it. But, yeah, In my opinion, I'm still looking at this one to possibly go lower. And we can eye that up over here. Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Wolf possibly cascade down here towards the 382. If it does get down there, that's 290, which would be a shame because, we've been in here since the mid $1 area and we've seen a nice ride up. But, here's another way to look at these overall. Some of these, they're getting to the prices that they were at almost, well, not quite a year ago, but some of them are. And so if we are seeing prices within the range of their lows from a year ago and we're seeing good support, and you believe that Bitcoin, remember what we were talking about with the MACD, that it can eventually flip positive, whether in a few weeks, a month, who knows, then you want to see the supports on the individual stocks or the altcoins that you are looking for. One like Wolf, when I look at this, I feel like it's more risky. Some of the other ones, I see more of the fibs, the channels. When I see that resistance combined together and it's not as steep of a channel, I feel better about putting my money in those. It feels less risky to me overall. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. And no, it sucks seeing these prices go down. But if you are in crypto, odds are the reason why is because you believe in something called alt season. And if so, you want to look for times like right now when we have extreme fear in the stock market, in the crypto market. Times like right now are rare. You want to be looking for opportunities. You also want to make sure that you aren't catching falling knives. I've gone over that in the charting on how to do that, with the MACD, the stochastic RSI. You can even be patient, wait for a buy signal. With this indicator right here, you can do that. You won't catch the very bottom, but if you're a dollar cost average type person, then you can take a look at even these fibs, at these fib levels, the channels, the trend lines, the moving averages, and that as well. But you have to be able to accept that prices can break those, and confirmation, a little bit more of a hedge against that risk. So anyways, hope you all are doing well and that you are able to pick up some discounts in the future. Not financial advice, of course. But as far as this Friday, still plan on doing a live stream probably around noon Central Time again. And tomorrow I'll look at releasing or doing a stock market video as well. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.